No update on Oliver Kylington. He remains unsigned. And again, it's much the same kind of conversation we had the other day, Retro. Here's a guy, what? Are you getting bad advice? Do you really want to move on? Is there something? Well, we don't know. We don't know. But he is unsigned, and
he kind of filled his hole with Jake Bean. Not that you couldn't
still room
one more guy down the depth chart, but
I would think, well, we don't know how the negotiations have gone, but I would think if you're the team, from my point of view, and that you put myself in, if I'm in management with the Flames, I'm annoyed with this guy now.
I think this is a really, really silly move by JP Barry and Oliver Kylington's that decision group, the people that are planning this. You essentially made $4 million to not play hockey for almost 2 years while the team stood by your side, defended you, sheltered you, gave you the privacy and time that you needed. Not NHL standard, not like, yeah, okay, he breaks his leg, he goes and elsewhere. This is above and beyond, well exceeding. There are many teams that would have suspended you for not showing up. And there was a lot of words that were very grateful, and there were a lot of words that suggested loyalty. The actions haven't matched that at all. And the time frame is important. Like, we started this podcast 22 months ago. That's about the amount of time that Oliver Kylington got paid, about $4 million, to not show up to work. And I'm not suggesting he wasn't dealing with big issues, but what I am suggesting is that the team stood by him with those issues and gave him all the resources they could to get him healthy again, to the point where he could play hockey again. And then when he showed up at camp and disappeared again, after we thought he was going to be back, they still stood by him a second time. And then he comes back for the very end of the season, a small enough sample to show that he can play in the league, but not to show what kind of hockey player is. And he thinks, you know what? I may be able to strike it rich in free agency. That to me is so ungrateful. And you absolutely have the right to go do that, just as the Flames had the right to suspend you rather than support you in your time of need when your darkest moment was there. And when you returned, you talked about how it might have saved your career. The amount of money that you're chasing here for the people that you think they're undervaluing you by, that saved your career? What are we talking about here? Like, what are you talking about? That's not how you treat people.
I'm with you 100%. I think it's poor. And I just wonder who's driving that decision.
It has to be the agent. That's what they're there to do. They advise you. That's in the freaking job description on your business.
But if they can advise you, it doesn't mean you take the advice.
Correct. And maybe Oliver wants to get back to Calgary, and JP Barry thought he could play hardball and get a bigger number. And now you're maybe in the standoff out of here.
Maybe JP's saying, dude, you should just take it. And I'm saying, no, like it'll be a combination, and I don't think one will they're not going to argue with each other about it. They've got a plan, but I don't know who's put the plan together. Like, you would think it would be the agent. I'd be even more disappointed if this is Kylington saying,
and look, if changing scenery is part of you getting back to you, great. But don't say all the things you said leading up to this if that's the case. If you know that's the case, there's ways to approach this much more tactically, where you can let it be known that you're very appreciative, but that, for me to be my best self, I might need to get out of certain communities, groups of people, whatever it is. And again, we never heard anything about it. We don't know what the hell the issue was. It's the big blanket of mental health, but that's a credit to the Flames. No one knows even what the hell happened. They nominated him for a freaking award. He never even said what the issue was. And that's how good the Flames were to this guy. Nothing got leaked. They were absolutely this was welded tight. They could not have supported this player to a higher degree. And for that, they get, I think we can get another extra $1 million or a second year. And you know what? I don't think other teams have been fooled by this. Where's the offer?
Yeah, that's just it.
If you're going to treat an NHL team that treated you that way like that, maybe we won't go 3-4 years. Maybe we'll just do one.
And it's interesting you mentioned it's JP Barry. This is not a guy that fell off the turnip truck, as they say.
No, this is a top 5 book in the sport, probably.
You would think that this guy would have very good intel on what interest there would be for this player. And you know what else has happened in that time that he's not playing? He's 27 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He had 8 points in 33 games last year. It's not like this is a young burgeoning prospect. This is a guy, by now, this is kind of what he is. And he can skate and he can move the puck, but this is not a player who is free of
like
warts in his game.
like Mantha, where is he going to go to get a better opportunity to play? Even if you they stood by you, you should stand by them. Agree with that. They're going to give you a contract, whatever it might be. Take a 1-year deal and go play 22 minutes a night, and then go arena. Fine.
The easy solution here was to take a 1-year deal at either the amount you got paid to not show up for, at least, for a year and a half, or a little more, whatever but then you can show the league what you are. And you say he is what he is. I have no idea what he is. Is he a third pair or a second pair guy?
There were a lot of years
top four?
where
I don't know. Next to Tanev he was. Otherwise he wasn't.
The year he made it, we didn't even mention his name going into training.
No,
camp.
he was a seventh defenseman.
It was like, yes.
And so are you a third pair or a second pair? You didn't want to, if you played the full season, we'd know. But instead you came back and you played 30 games as the team was dissembling the blue line, and you and Rasmus Anderson didn't play well together, bud. You didn't look like a top 4 guy next to Anderson, who we know is. So if you want top 4 money, well, shit, maybe if you'd played more than 33 games the last 2 years, you could have built the case. And I'm not trying to make light of the situation he's in, but it just seems a little bit arrogant to go think you're going to go get paid term for top 4 when he hasn't been that guy since he played with Tanev 3 seasons ago under Sutter.
Yeah, nobody's offering him top $4. Clearly, he's not regarded.
He would have been signed by now, but that's probably what he thought he was getting. He skates well. He's not old. There has been a bit of offense, but I don't think we've seen enough to go to market and go get the money. And I think he's probably a great human, and for all accounts I've heard, great guy. It's just a shame that it has to end this way because the team bent over backwards to help him in his darkest time.
Yeah. And I don't know. We're told over and over again, it's a business, it's a business, it's a business. And for Calgary Flame fans and for Flames staff and all of that.
What was the business move for the Flames then over the last 2 years?
I know. I know.
They didn't treat it as a fucking business. Yeah. Sorry. There's a time and a place where the business side you have to put the business aside and treat people as humans and do the right thing. And he's not keeping up his end of the bargain.
Not reciprocating it. Yeah. The words were there, just not the actions. And look, maybe he comes back to Calgary and says, geez,
I have a hard time even now. He's going to he's lost a lot of good faith.
Yeah, for sure. There's the goodwill that he'd built up. And people are saying, if it was a broken leg, it's different. It's like, but you can't go test a guy for a broken mental health thing. Like, you really have to, you're in the trust tree with the player. There isn't a test to say, he needs 6 months. He needs a year. He needs 2 weeks we are talking about a massive amount of trust between player and team in this situation. It's not an x-ray where you look at it and you give the guy a timetable. So,
and to your point, right? It's, I think we can speak to it. Between Brad Treliving and Craig Conroy, there was a great deal of compassion shown to this player. So you don't want to, it's not about guilting a guy, but they were tremendous support to him when he needed help the most.
Just walk through it all. Walk through his whole career and tell me where the Flames have not
done him wrong.
Yeah.
Where's the bad taste in his mouth?
Where's the you need to squeeze this team for more?
And by all means, if you sign a 1-year deal and you look unreal,
you'll
squeeze away. Squeeze away.
Yes.
You've earned it now. But not when you've shown up for 33 out of a possible 170 some games.
Now, we won't know, but I don't suspect that the Flames are trying to put the squeeze on him. And what would the squeeze on him look like? 6-year deal at $2 million?
They probably wanted short term. Right?
I can't imagine they're offering that. Right?
I think in the wake of what happened,
I would think it's a
1-year.
You want to play one more year at the same or in the same vein of pay? Love to have you.
And I think they went up from what his last salary was. It's a tough one.
It's not tough. Actually.
Well, I just mean it's a tough look for the player.
It's a tough pill to swallow for the Flames, and the player doesn't look good. And that's why I get emotional, get grumpy with people, but he's not doing the right thing in my opinion, and I don't want him back. You've already muddied the waters.
And people are misinterpreting this, saying, you don't understand mental health. And this isn't about mental health. This is about when you needed the team to support you the most, they did. And they're not saying we don't want you back as a mental health. You're saying, you know what? You treated me great, but It's lack of loyalty. This isn't a mental
Well,
health
and it's
conversation.
and again, and we'll move on because it feels like kind of feels like we're bashing, but it's also it's not like you're shunning a better deal to stay in
Not
Calgary,
yet.
right?
No.
Because if there was, you'd have gone and signed it, and we would have all said, "Hey, that's great for him. It's a 4-year deal. It's good money. Flames aren't in that spot, whatever." But the fact is, there was a deal on the table with this team, and you said no and went to go elsewhere. And as of yet, it could happen today. By the time you listen to this, it may all be done. He could be whatever, a Carolina Hurricane.
Still doesn't make it
But-
right in my eyes.
Agreed.
Pinder report coming up.
And terrible asset management by Conrad. What the hell you doing?
How dare
couldn't
you
he have seen this
take
coming?
the players back here and support him in his time of need? Stinks though. You do the right thing, and now it's like shit. Like, what do we do wrong here? Like, why? Do we do it the same next time? Like, you're walking through. everything you
Well,
did?
that's and that's something that
sucks.
Shillington might have to have on his plate
I think
moving
other
forward,
teams
where
have got
other
a little
teams are
red
going to go,
flag.
wait a minute, what happened with that guy in Calgary? It didn't go so well.
Why didn't you go back there? They did a lot to help him.
Like, that's not
Not really the resume of someone that should have a great deal of clout.
If you're missing the
top all of it.
22-23 season in there, that's because
Yes,
there's
okay.
0 games.
Got it.
Yeah. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.ca. Appreciate you watching.